Hi and welcome to another newsletter video. If you haven't seen the previous two videos, you probably want to check those out first. There's a link underneath this video where you can put your email address in, or if you're finding this on YouTube, then just go to joecrabtree.com and you'll see the thing where you can sign up for these videos in your inbox. In this lesson, I want to expand on what we did in the previous two lessons, and we were looking at drumming words, I call them, which is basically just short snippets of stickings or footings, I guess, combinations of hands and feet that you can use to make fills and solos. And in the last video we talked about filling over the bar line, and in this video I just want to expand on the word that we introduced in the last video, which was basically a 12-note grouping or 16th note triplets played as doubles between the foot and the hands. So basically foot, foot, hand, hand, foot, foot, and then hand, hand, foot, foot, hand, hand. So that's 12 notes before you get back to where you started. In this video I want to invert that. So instead of starting with 2 strokes, we're going to start with 1 stroke. So instead of, for example, foot, foot, hand, hand, foot, foot, we're going to go foot, hand, hand, foot, foot, hand, and then the next one would start hand, foot, foot, hand, hand, foot. So you're basically just playing the same pattern but starting 1 beat later. And you can do the same starting with a hand to begin with. So hand, foot, foot, hand, hand, foot, foot, hand, hand, foot, foot, hand, and then that repeats. So I'm just going to play some examples of this slowly to the click. In fact, let me bring the tempo of that down a little bit. So I'll play a groove and then I will start with the one that we did in the last video, which is starting with the double. So I'll start with the hands, hand, hand, foot, foot, hand, hand, foot, foot, hand, hand, foot, foot. And then I will play a couple where I start with one of the single notes. So we're starting a beat later, and you can see how they sound different. Okay, so that's actually pretty difficult to play at that tempo and really nail all those things. So as an exercise by itself, that's a good thing to work on. I started singing in my head, so that when I'm playing do, get, I've got so I have a rate for when I start playing the fill. Now this is pretty slow. This is like half the speed that I want to get this up to. But the idea is basically that you're playing that pattern of foot, foot, hand, hand, foot, foot, hand, hand, foot, foot, hand, hand in triplets, and you're either starting where we did last time, hand, hand, foot, foot, hand, hand, or you're starting with a single hand. And I did that a few times in that last example, starting on the hi-hat, which again fools the listener in a way because that hi-hat would be there anyway, 1 and 2 and 3. So I'm thinking of that 3 as the start of my fill, but the listener's just going to hear it as a hi-hat. So they hear the fill starting on the next 16th note triplet on the bass drum. So it makes the fill sound more interesting, even though you're thinking of it in a very simple way. So I'm going to push the tempo up a little bit and just improvise around this idea and see how it sounds. Okay, so I don't think I played those particularly well. These are things that I'm working on. You'll find that these videos and the VIP videos on my website are basically stuff that I'm working on, and I'll share with you the exercises and ideas that I'm going to use to kind of solidify those concepts into my playing. So you will see me making mistakes, and I hope that kind of inspires you rather than you know, makes you think that I'm not worth watching. I've been playing for 20-something years now, and it's surprising that, you know, throughout that time that you kind of, probably when I was 16, I thought I was an amazing drummer. And now I don't feel like I'm a particularly great drummer. And that's not because I've got worse, it's because my appreciation and understanding of what's going on has got better. So rather than when I was 16 I could really nail a groove, it was just that when I was 16 I couldn't hear the subtle differences between, you know, where my snare drum was falling and where the click track was falling. And I wasn't as acutely aware of all those timing differences. So I find these days a lot of the time that I spend in the practice room is working on what seems like really basic stuff. So at a practice pad, playing singles and doubles, just trying to really nail very simple rudiments and very simple fills. So playing those examples for you then, I was well aware of the fact that they weren't particularly even, and I didn't feel particularly comfortable playing them. Now, part of the reason for that is that I didn't know exactly what I was going to play. I don't have written down a whole bunch of exercises that I'm going to show you and specific fills. What I'm dealing in here is concepts. So the idea is that you take the concept and you sit down and play around with it like I was playing around with it then, and you kind of go, okay, fill, 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 and then you play something that sounds good and you go, oh, I like that one, and so you try and repeat that one, and then you're taking the ideas that you think sound good, that you kind of happen across by accident, and then you work on those and make them real integral parts of what you can play. And so that will be a fill that's going to come out because you've then practiced it a lot. It's the kind of thing that's going to come out on a gig and somebody will go, oh, that was a really nice fill you played, and you'll know that you put, you know, a lot of work finding it in the first place and then refining it and making it something that you can play very well. You can do the same with concepts. So this whole concept of playing this lick around the kit, if you do this enough, if I did this for another 20 minutes, I would get a lot more comfortable with it. But right now I'm dealing in the ideas, and while I'm showing them to you, I'm trying to improve them. But I didn't want to show you after I've practiced it for 2 hours, because then you'd see me playing it and you might assume that, oh, he can just play it that well. That's not the case. Every new thing that I come across, I will struggle with. And I've seen videos of Dave Weckl. I know he's drum tech. He helped me develop an app on the iPhone that I'm actually using for the click here. And he's got a video of Dave Weckl in a sound check. He was his drum tech, so he'd go around Europe with him setting up his drums. And I have a video of him going, oh, show me that lick, Dave. And so Dave's sitting there trying to show him something that he's come up with. And he just screws it up again and again and again. But eventually he gets it. So what you don't realize is that when you see Dave Weckl on a gig, he's flawless. But everything that he plays, he's worked really hard on to get it to that standard. So it's kind of like, whereas I might go on a gig and just throw stuff in there and hope for the best, and it might not sound that great when it comes out, Dave has really, really honed his stuff before he lets anybody else hear it. So, you know, all these players who are unbelievable still have to work on ideas like you and I do. So anyway, that's enough of a rant there. I hope that you've understood where I've come from with this lesson. And that's all I'm going to give you for now. I think that one single thing should be enough to keep you working on stuff for a while, because I'm going to switch this off and I'm going to work on it myself. So I hope you find it interesting. If you find this video because somebody sent you a link to it and you want to get the rest of the videos in your inbox, then just sign up for the newsletter underneath this video or at joecrabtree.com and you will get those videos. And if you've enjoyed it and you think that you have people who might also find it interesting, then please direct them to this video too. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.